The online library is committed to supporting the information needs of the University of London's distance learning community and provides resources and services similar to those that you would find in a physical library. Using the library will give you access to a diverse range of high-quality academic information sources, which will help you craft persuasive arguments for your exams and dissertations. Using the library will also help you find the information you need quickly and help you develop key information literacy skills, which are needed to survive in today's information world. The library is managed by a team of professional librarians who can provide help and guidance on how to use library and information resources effectively. The library contains over 100 million digital items, including books, journal and news articles, legal cases and legislation, videos, statistics, theses and dissertations, technical standards, and more. This is the online library website. You can access the online library website on the web at onlinelibrary.london.ac.uk. You can access the page dedicated to your program, known as your Study Program Gateway, by selecting the Study Program icon and selecting your program from the list. Your Study Program Gateway will provide guidance and information that will help you use the library. It will also display a list of databases relevant to your program. Where the library subscribes to a particular item, such as a book or a journal, it will be available in one of the databases. You can access databases from your Study Program Gateway by clicking the name of a database and then clicking the Login button. If you are accessing a database for the first time in your current browser session, you will usually need to log in and will see this screen. If you have a University of London portal account, select University of London Online Library Portal Login and then enter the same username and password you used to log into your University of London student portal. If you do not have a University of London portal account, then you can log in by selecting the Open Athens option instead. This will apply if you are studying a SOAS program and may also apply if you are using the library as a member of staff. If you think you need to log in using the Open Athens option and do not have an Open Athens account, you can request one using the form on the library website. You can use the Summon search engine to search across most of the library databases. You can search Summon for specific items, such as books and articles on your reading lists. It is usually sufficient to enter the last name of one of the authors, and then the title of the book or article you are looking for. The book appears at the top of the search results in this instance, but sometimes you might need to scroll through the search results to find the correct item, for example, if there are items with similar titles by the same author. To access an item from within Summon, just click the Full Text button. You may see a confirmation screen like this. If you do, then click the Read Online button. You may be asked to log in at this point using the same process described earlier. You will then be taken to the database that contains the item so you can read it. You can also use Summon to find material relating to a particular topic by entering keywords into Summon that describe your topic. For example, the Wall Street crash. Filters help you refine your search. The student support pages on the library website provide further guidance on how to use Summon effectively. You can export the details of useful items to look at later. You do this by first saving the results into a temporary folder in Summon. Your temporary folder will usually empty once you close your browser, so it is important to do something with the results first. You can print them out or send them by email. You can also export them into RefWorks, which is a reference management tool provided by the library. You can sort items into folders and add tags. You can also convert your references into a bibliography within RefWorks in different citation formats. Please see the student support pages on the library website for help with logging into RefWorks and using it effectively. Another way of accessing serial publications, such as journals, newspapers and law reports, is to use the A to Z journals list. Just enter the name of the publication in the search box. If the publication is available in the library, the A to Z journals list will tell you which databases the publication is available in and the date range available in each database. You can then access the publication from here. You may need to log in at this point using the same process described earlier. If you need help, you will find lots of useful information on the student support pages on the library website. You can also get help from a librarian by getting in touch with the online library inquiry service. You can get in touch by email, phone, or by using our web inquiry form. You can also get in touch through live chat in designated hours. Thank you for watching this video. We do hope you found it useful.
If the library doesn't have a journal article, are we allowed to request an interlibrary loan or only under special circumstances?
Yes, so if there's something we don't have, then do get in touch with us, tell us what it is and what you need it for. Definitely if it's for a research project or a dissertation or that sort of thing, we'll definitely get an article for you if we can. But do just get in touch if there's something that you need. That's what I would say. We'll do our best to get it for you.
Am I able to read a borrowed book offline? And if so, how?
Yeah, so the two main ebook databases in the library are called VL eBooks and eBook Central. And with both of those databases, when you find the book you're looking for, there'll be a download option. And that will allow you to temporarily download the book to read it offline. The length of time you can download it for will depend on the book. At minimum, it will be 24 hours, up to 3 weeks. And when you go to download the book, it will tell you how long you can download it for. Something I should add though is when you do download a book to read offline, you'll need some software called Adobe Digital Editions, and that's free. And there's a link on the library website. If you go to the ebooks page, it will tell you everything you need to know about that process. And once you've got that software, that will allow you to open the file once you've downloaded it.
Does the library offer us some software like Microsoft Office, SPSS, statistics, etc.?
So we don't offer that in the library. For certain programs, I know, for example, SPSS is provided by the university, but it's not. And so for those specific programs where that software is really required, then that is provided, and that's provided usually via your virtual learning environment. But no, we don't provide SPSS or Word via the library, I'm afraid, because they're not actually library resources.
Is there any other way to find out the study material books?
The way to do that is to search and summon, but you can email us. Um, if you mean to find out which books that you need, that will be listed on your reading list. So if you go to your reading list in your module, it will tell you which books you're recommended to read, and then you can go and search for those in the library. And if you can't find them, then email us, because it may be that we do have it and you've just not found it, or maybe we don't have it, but we might be able to get it.
What is the coverage of Summon? Does it contain databases as well?
Yeah, so if you search in Summon, it does list the databases. So if you type in the name of a database, it'll come up on the right hand side. So that you can do it that way. But if you want to access an actual database such as JSTOR, for example, Academic Search Complete or Statista, the best way to do that is to go to your study program gateway, because it will list all the databases that are relevant to you, and you can just click the name of a database and access it from there. More broadly, though, Summon searches across the databases, but it doesn't search across all of them. So it doesn't search Statista, for example. It doesn't search the legal databases comprehensively. So for those databases, it's best to go into the database itself quite often and search it directly. So really, in summary, if you're searching the library, Summon is the best starting point. And it will search across most of the databases and tell you what's in them, and then you can access material from there. But if you do want to search a particular database directly, the best thing to do is to do that by going to your study program gateway and accessing the database from there, and then you'll be searching that database specifically.
When I try to read some books, I can't read since Adobe Digital Editions doesn't function well.
I think the best thing what I'd recommend is to email us and give us an idea about what the problem is. I mean, obviously, Adobe Digital Editions is not something we provide. It's provided by a third party, i.e., Adobe. It's the software that our ebook platforms require, so it's kind of slightly beyond our control, but it may be something we can help with. So if you're having an issue with Adobe Digital Editions, then email us and let us know, and we might be able to help if we can. You can read books online without using Adobe Digital Editions, but then you do need to be connected to the internet to do that. So yes, I would advise anyone in that position to get in touch with us and let us know what the problem is, and we'll look into that.
Other than ebook and VL ebooks, are there other sources of ebook available?
A lot of the databases have ebooks in them. So if you search on Summon and you use the ebook filter, it will tell you every ebook we've got, regardless of the database it's in. So So we have ebooks in the psychology database, Psych Books, for example. We have ebooks in Cambridge Core, and we have some ebooks in JSTOR, etc. So yes, the answer is we do have ebooks in other databases, but most of the ebooks that we actually buy for you are in VLE books and eBook Central. So if there's an ebook that you're looking for that isn't in one of those databases and you can't find it in someone either, then I would suggest you do get in touch with us, and we'll see if it's something we can get for you.
Do you have any comments on using Summon versus Google Scholar? Are there times you would recommend one over the other?
So Google Scholar is very good. The issue with Google Scholar is it will find things that we don't necessarily have in the library, or we might have them in the library, but Google Scholar won't tell you that, and you can't access it from Google Scholar. So Google Scholar is fine if you want to check references, for example, trying to track down an elusive article. But I would always suggest, I would always suggest as a librarian that you use Summon first, because that's the search engine we provide, and it filters out what we don't have, essentially. So if you're actually looking to access content, it's better to go via Summon, because then you'll know that we've actually got something and you'll be able to access it directly from there. So in terms of using the library and accessing library resources, then Summon is better. But of course, Google Scholar does have its place.
How do I log into RefWorks?
So when you if you go to the library website and go to the student support pages, there's a page that explains how to do that. But essentially, you create an account with your email address, and then once you've done that, you'll be able to log in that way from that point onwards. But it's probably better if you look at the instructions on the library website, because they probably explain it a bit more clearly than I can do right now. But it's a fairly straightforward process to set up your account. And once you've done that, then you won't need to do it again. But as always, do get in touch if it's not clear or you're having any problems with it, and we'll be able to talk you through it.
Can I ask the online library to get past exam papers for the University of London?
So that's a good question, and something we're asked about a lot. So the university does make available past exam papers, and I think it's usually the last 3 to 5 years worth, but they're normally made available via the VLE. So we don't actually hold them in the library itself. So if you go to your VLE, and it will depend on what program you're studying, because a lot of the VLEs are different, but there should be an exam paper section, and that's where you can access those. But if you can't find something, then do get in touch, and we should be able to point you in the right direction.
Can we access every book from the ProQuest database? Most books have a viewing time for only 5 minutes, and I have to mail the library team to gain full-time access for several books I need for my university essays.
Good question. So books that are on your read. So basically, when you log into ProQuest, it shows you everything in the ProQuest has available in their catalogue, including books that we don't have. So there's a filter that you can use just to filter all those books we don't have out. But if there is a book that you see that we don't have, and therefore it's only giving you that preview option, then do get in touch with us, and we can look at whether we can buy it. So the books that you're seeing essentially there that only have a preview option are books that we haven't bought for the library, but we could potentially buy. If it's a book on your reading list, we should already have it, and you shouldn't need to preview it. It might be that we have it in VLE books instead, though. But yes, if there's a book that you see in ProQuest that you can't access completely, then get in touch with us, and we'll look into that and see if we can get it. Or if it's in VLE books, we can tell you that as well. But you can check that yourself too.
As DL students, how can we borrow from the library if we are in London? Just now, we've made this deal with Senate House Library that if you are in London, you can actually come in and get a Senate House Library card, and they have an exceptional actual publication, real library, hardcover library where you can go in and order borrow any books that you like.
All you need to do is come into the library and just provide some confirmation of your student status. And the way that you can normally do that is just when you come into the library, there'll be the membership desk, which is the first desk that you'll arrive at. If you can just log into your student portal and show that to staff at the desk, and they'll know then that you're a distance learning student and give you a library card, and then you'll be able to borrow books and use the study spaces, etc.
Can we place a purchase request for ebooks not in the inventory? And if so, how?
So the databases usually have an option where you can suggest that we purchase a book. But if you can't see that, then on the library website, there's a suggest a resource form that you can fill in, or you can just email us and tell us what the book is. So absolutely, you can suggest books and we'll get them if we can.
I experience that I do not access too many journals. I'm asked to log in via the university, and then ULL is not in the option list. The second option is then to log into Open Athens, but I don't have a login name for that. That is a great question because a lot of people get confused by that.
So yeah, so I think that sounds like Christina and others. I mean, we know this does happen. If you go to if you look, for example, if you look up a journal on Google, and this is another reason why Google Scholar isn't a great way to access material in our library, because if you go to a journal's website or you go to a database's website, at that point it won't know that you're a University of London student, and that's where you have to select the option on the list. If you're not seeing that option, it could be because it's normally University of London Online Library or sometimes University of London External System. But if you're not seeing that option, that doesn't necessarily mean we don't have it. So what I would suggest is, if you're looking for a journal, go to the A to Z journals list on the library website, type in the name of the journal, and as it was demonstrated in the video, so you can watch that back later. And if we have a journal, it will tell you there. If it doesn't appear on that list, then it means we don't subscribe to it. But if it's a journal that you think we should subscribe to, or you just need an article from it, then do get in touch, and we certainly can usually get you articles from journals that we don't subscribe to. But so yes, that's what I'd recommend, is go via the library website and the A to Z journals list, and that will tell you definitively whether we have the journal, and you'll be able to access it from there without having to search for the name of the university or anything like that.
I've had problems locating cases for modules.
Okay, so so there are different ways of doing it. The legal case. So we've got three main legal databases. There's Lexis Plus, there's Westlaw, and there's vLex Justice. And there will be cases in all of them. Most of the main law report series, so All England Law Reports, the Law Reports, and the Weekly Law Reports, are in the Westlaw and Lexis databases. But what we'd recommend is that you search on vLex Justice first, because what that will do is it will tell you where a case was reported, and if the reports are available in one of the other databases, you can link across to those databases from vLex Justice, and you can often read the judgment in vLex Justice as well. So it's a really good database to start off with, and it will also show you kind of related cases, earlier cases, later cases, etc., that relate to the case you're looking for. So vLex Justice is the best starting point. If you're an undergraduate or postgraduate law student, on your VLE, you should find some tutorials which have some videos that demonstrate how to find cases in vLex Justice, Lexis Plus, and Westlaw. So that's a good starting point. But I'd also say we've got a law librarian, so please do get in touch if there's anything you can't find, and she'll be able to help you.
On VLE books, can they only be read online? Is it not possible to download them if they are core books from module?
With VLE Books and eBook Central, so there are two main ebook databases, you can read books online and you can download them temporarily for offline reading. So it's a bit like borrowing a book from a physical library. The download period varies from 24 hours to 3 weeks, and it depends on the book. When you do download an ebook to read offline, you'll need a piece of software called Adobe Digital Editions in order to open the file. And you can get that. There's a link on the library website on the ebooks page that will explain all about how that works, and give you a link so you can download the software to your device. You don't need any software to read things online in your browser, but you do need that software to read things offline.
Why do you allow only 1 day to download VLE books?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So the reason for that is there are some books, some ebooks, where the publisher locks down access to one student at a time, and we buy lots of copies of those books to make sure as many students at once can access them. But the reason the download period is only 24 hours with a lot of those books is just so that the book stays in circulation for as long as possible. So you can download it for 24 hours. If you still need it after that time, you can go back and download it again and get another 24 hours. But if you don't, that puts the book back into the system and means someone else can gain access to it. So that's why the download period is 24 hours for those titles. It is because of the publisher restrictions, essentially. So that's what's driving that.
One, if I didn't find what I was looking for, which is why we're here. And the other one, what if I didn't find the models I was looking for? So I think the best thing to do is to reach out to us. If you can't find something online that is not placed in your program, if it's supposed to be in the online library and you can't find it, you should certainly send us an email or try and chat with us. If you see the little green light is on the chat on online library, you should just take it. Gerry might have some more information for you, but I think those are the main.
Yes. So I mean, if you that's right. So if you can't find what you're looking for, there could be various reasons for that. It could be because we don't have it, and that might be because we can't get it. So we do our best to make sure all your certainly all your essential readings and further readings are available in the library. There are some ebooks we can't always get them from the publisher in a kind of library format. So sometimes the book might not be available. It might be that if it's a reading, it might be that you have a scanned copy of the chapter or the article on your VLE. So it's always worth checking there. And then, as Ariana says, if you can't find something on your VLE and it's on your reading list, then do get in touch with us and we'll be able to help. And when you do contact us about those things, it's really helpful if you can tell us which module it relates to, because then we can check the reading list, and that kind of helps us kind of identify what if where the item might be in some cases.
All right, Hazel wanted to know, can we access the library after graduation?
So that's a good question. We do get asked about that. So the answer is the online library itself can only be provided, we can only provide access to current students, and that's to do with our licenses or agreements with publishers. However, there is a way of joining Senate House Library, which is the kind of campus-based library for the university. And you can join as an a graduate or an alumni to Senate House Library. There is a charge for that. That does give you access to some databases, but not the full range of database provided in the online library, I'm afraid. So it's something we would like to do, but unfortunately, it's just not something that's in our gift to provide access to alumni. But you can join Senate House Library and you'll get some access to e-resources after you graduate if you want to. And if you go to the Senate House Library website, just Google Senate House Library. And there's a link on the online library webpage as well. That will direct you to the right place if you're interested in that.
There is also a maximum pages of download. Why is that?
Yeah, so downloading something permanently, which is akin to printing it out, that's restricted by the publisher, and it reflects copyright law. So in the same way that if you had a physical book, you wouldn't you wouldn't be able to scan or photocopy more than a certain amount of it without infringing copyright, and the same applies to ebooks. So if you wanted to either print to paper or print to PDF, which is kind of downloading it essentially permanently, then when you try to do that in one of our ebook platforms, it will tell you what the allowance is for that particular book, and it varies on the book. It's usually between 5 and 40%. It depends on the book and the publisher. So it will tell you when you go to do that how many pages you have left, and for each page you print or download permanently, one page will be deducted from your allowance. Once you hit that allowance, unfortunately there isn't anything that can be done, because the library doesn't have any way of circumventing that or adjusting the settings. So it is something to bear in mind and be aware of if you want to do any printing or saving, that you will only have a limited opportunity to do that. So if you download a whole chapter permanently and then realize a few weeks later that you want to download another one, you might not be able to do so. So that's something to bear in mind when you're printing or saving permanently, just to keep that in mind, that there'll be a limit.
If the online library doesn't have the text we need, should we just opt to find it online? And then could we request any text from you?
Yes, so there are two answers to that, depending on whether it's so if it's a reading, then we should have it already, but we might not. So do get in touch with us. and we'll look into, because if it's a reading, we would always try to get it if we can. If we haven't got it in the library, it might be because we weren't able to for the reasons I outlined earlier. But also we have a student suggestion facility. So if it's just a book that you want to read because you think it will support your studies, you can either just email us with the details, and there's also a form on the library website that you can use. So you can use either of those methods, and if it's something we can get, then we usually will. So do get in touch if there's something that you'd like us to add to the library that you can't find.
I don't see where I can temporarily download an ebook in VLE.
So I think it might be helpful if I just demonstrate that now, actually. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm going to go to VLE Books now. I'm just going to go by one of the study program gateways. Okay, so let's take this book, for example. The download option is there. So hopefully you can see that. And then what we'll do is download a file to your computer. I can't remember what the suffix is. I think it's ACCD or something like that. And then, provided you have the Adobe Digital Edition software installed, you will be able to open the file and read it for the duration of the download periods. And that will depend whether it's 24 hours or 3 days or 7 days or 3 weeks, and that will depend on the book.
Will there be live sessions to explain how to create and use referencing?
So I'll just show you the page on the library website that talks about referencing, because that may be of some use. The student support, and then there's this page here, so it explains the purpose of referencing, the different reference styles available, and how to use them, how to use reference management software that we demonstrated in the video, RefWorks, and also some guidance on how to avoid plagiarism as well. So that's a good starting point. If you have any specific questions about referencing, though, do email us, and we're very happy to answer questions like that. And we may be able to put a live event on at some point in the future as well. So great suggestion. Thank you for that.
Not all research articles are open to postgraduate students. Why is that? Okay,
so we don't have any articles in the library that are restricted to certain categories of student. But there are articles that we don't have access to in the library. So we do subscribe to thousands of journals, but we don't have everything. So what I would suggest is, if there's an article that you're looking for and you're trying to access, whether it's via the library or whether it's just online outside of the library, then get in touch, and we can see if we do have it, and if not, whether we can get it for you, because we can often get scans of articles and make them available to students. So, but yes, there's no distinction between different categories of students in terms of articles, in terms of the level of study. So anything that an undergraduate can access can be accessed by a postgraduate student, and vice versa. There are a few databases that are limited to specific programs. For example, the law databases are only really available to students studying law, but that's kind of the only real example of that. But in general, if it's a journal article, if it's available in the library, it will be available to everybody. So it sounds to me possibly some of the things you found we just don't actually have, and that's why you've not been able to access them.
Sorry, I didn't understand. What is ProQuest exactly?
So when I think possibly that was probably my fault, because we've got two ebook databases in the library. We've got ebooks in lots of the databases, but most of the ones we've actually specifically bought are in eBook Central and VLE Books. Now, eBook Central, you'll see here, it's got ProQuest in brackets, and that's just because ProQuest is the provider. So I think I might have used the term ProQuest, but what I meant was eBook Central. But ProQuest, actually, we get a lot of databases from there, and you'll see in this list here, a lot of them have ProQuest in brackets. So really, ProQuest is a kind of platform that hosts lots of our different databases, including eBook Central. And I'll just open eBook Central now to show you that. But before I do, I'll just say a word about VLE Books. So VLE Books is our other ebook database. Now, unfortunately, the term VLE Books can cause a bit of confusion, because it's very similar to the VLE, which you will all have access to for your as your learning platform, but they are completely separate. So when we talk about VLE books, that means ebook databases via the online library website. If you hear the term VLE, that means your Moodle platform. So I'll just log into eBook Central just to show you that. So we already looked at VLE books. eBook Central looks a bit different. I'll just type a book at random. With eBook Central, when you log in, it will show you the whole eBook Central catalogue, whether we've got the book or not. So if you look at number of search results, if it says suggest for purchase, it means we don't have it. But we might be able to get it, so you can contact us. If it says available, it means we do have it. So I'm just going to filter to filter the available books. So these are the books we actually have in the library that we've purchased already. And so this is the kind of equivalent screen that we looked at on VLE books earlier. So if you wanted to download it, that would be the link to do that. And you click that link, read online, if you just wanted to read it in your web browser. So hopefully that clarifies what we meant by ProQuest earlier and a bit more about ebooks.
Yeah, and if anyone has trouble accessing these or you're confused, please do feel free to reach out to the online library. You can always send us an email or go to the chat and we can walk you through this, because sometimes it is intimidating or the software doesn't work.